Hey, this is Notser, and we're talking deep water torpedoes. Wargaming released an article, and I want to discuss it. The game in the background is a Shimakaze on Tears of the Desert Epicenter. Probably one of the worst map game mode combinations. I am using relocation, and it's really good on this map. So we're going to check that out. So deep water torpedoes. They're coming Pan-Asian destroyer line. Recently, Wargaming showed off the Graf Zeppelin deep water torpedo setup. It's going to be 2 fighters, 3 deep water torpedo bombers, and it's going to work exactly as my initial first impression video, except one glaring change. Every single destroyer will be immune to the deep water torpedoes. Now, Wargaming has solidified this design principle. Deep water torpedoes will only target certain types. It's not based on the draft of the ship. It's not based on any of that. So, all cruisers, even British, will be able to take damage from deep water torpedoes. All battleships, all carriers. Not a single destroyer until the end of time will take damage from a deep water torpedo. And that is the finalized design for deep water torpedoes. They felt like it made more sense and it felt better. Okay, that's fine. But my core issue here is that deep water torpedoes are really offensive to certain torpedo lines, like the Japanese. The Japanese are a torpedo-focused line, and they have sort of been butchered over time to make it easier and easier and easier to react to the torpedoes. Regardless of the fact that there's vigilance in the game, there's target acquisition in the game, regardless of there's even hydro battleships that exist in the game, they took a hatchet again to a problem, and they have never recovered from it. Japanese destroyers are by far the weakest in the game. I'm trying to think of a destroyer line that is weaker. Top to bottom. It's just really frustrating to see this occur, and the solution to allow the torpedoes to be more effective against battleships is not to, maybe take away some of their spotting abilities. If you're so set on these detectabilities on the torpedoes for the Japanese, we'll take away some of their abilities like vigilance or target acquisition. Maybe they can't combine those. Maybe hydroacoustic isn't as easy to get, or maybe, whatever. No, that's not the solution we're going to use. Our solution is going to just introduce a line that's better. The Pan-Asian destroyers should theoretically be very effective against battleships, and that's what these torpedoes should have been. These torpedoes should have put the fear of death in every battleship because they do so much damage. The Japanese have the highest damaging torpedoes in the game. The detectability change is one thing for battleships so they don't take a full broadside and are dead instantly, because that's how high damage the torpedoes are. And another thing, they don't want a destroyer that's sitting in smoke to accidentally die into one torpedo, because one torpedo will kill a destroyer. Japanese torpedo specifically. But you know what I would say? Good. They played poorly. Whenever I die in smoke to a torpedo, I don't say to myself, "Oh man, that was so unfair." No, I say, I'm an idiot, and that's my bad. I'm very concerned that the deep water torpedoes is just an expression of this coddling. We cannot possibly communicate the ideas of the game in an effective manner, so therefore we're going to put up extensive walls to protect players from these unforeseen consequences. And I'm going, what in the hell? Yeah, sure, FPS games are easier to understand, but you know why? Because there's 1,000 FPS games. We pretty much know how aim down sights, we know how sprinting, crouching, prone, all that works. We know which buttons to press because we've been taught over 10, 20, 30 years exactly what to do. How many ship games are designed exactly like this and run like this. Not that many. So I don't think it's completely unreasonable for players to make critical mistakes, but I think it's completely unreasonable to diagnose it as, oh, the system's just too complicated. No, nobody knows how it works because very few have interacted with it. Why not try to inform the community in a more friendly way? And yeah, sure, you do the videos and stuff. It has to be in-game. This communication has to occur in the moment when the issue occurs. If a destroyer is sitting in smoke, their own smoke, I'm sure you can check that. Just have a check. Is it their smoke? Are they sitting in it? Did they die to torpedoes? Yes, yes, yes. Give them a little cue. By the way, the enemy is more likely to send torpedoes at smoke that they see, because that means an enemy ship has recently been inside the smoke or is still inside the smoke. That seems like a really easy solution, and you already have all those checks in the game. You just have to put them together into some sort of new player experience communication system. Why can't we do that? If you die to a broadside battleship citadel, you tell them. Sailing broadside against a battleship as a cruiser is very dangerous. You should consider angling and maneuvering. I don't think that is too difficult. You can have it disable after 1 or 2 times. It's not in the way of veteran players, but new players are much more informed by what's going on. Very few people actually watch content or read articles, or a lot of people just pick up the game, they play 2 or 3 games, they die to things that they don't understand, and then they log off. Let's do a better job of informing the player about how to play the game correctly, and it's going to be much, much, much better balance-wise. I just think that Wargaming, you haven't tried to teach the players the correct way to play. You've sort of relied on the community to do that, and as much effort as I put into it, I'm addressing such an insignificant number of the total community. And I would wager a lot of players don't have the patience to watch a video of me explaining what I'm trying to do and what occurred that caused my death. Most players don't want to do that. That's why my solution, I think, is more elegant. Just do a couple in-game checks. Okay. This person died to torpedoes and smoke. Therefore, hey, by the way, if you're sitting in smoke, it's more likely to take torpedoes. I think that's reasonable. There should be something that teaches you, hey, if you see situation awareness on your screen, that means that there is an enemy ship that is within your detectability ring. And you could like blink the detectability ring when you're doing it. There's so many elegant solutions to communicating the systems to players. I just think you need to do a better job, Wargaming. Do a better job. We'll see how deep water torpedoes work. It is interesting that a destroyer line will not be able to exploit the enemy destroyers in smoke. I think that's going to be a very big vulnerability. And that could mean that it has a low win rate. What is their solution if it has a low win rate? Are their guns going to be so overbearing that they're basically some sort of weird hybrid Soviet destroyer and a Japanese destroyer put into one, you know? Oh, they have to be able to damage the destroyer lines. Well, we're going to buff their guns. Oh, well, their guns are actually good against everything else. Oh, and they also have good torpedoes. Oh, well, shit. Now they're good at everything. You know, what's the line that you draw? Are they just going to straight up lose against DDs 1 versus 1? Are they not going to be able to play the objective as effectively? Especially when there's a DD around? I don't think so. I think Wargaming doesn't want them to be completely irrelevant. And I fear that the guns will be just a little bit too good because of that. Not like too good like, oh god, they're going to do 400,000 damage. Just that their gun systems will probably be better than Americans. They'll probably be better than the Germans, unless the target's broadside. And that would be pushing the envelope of the power. So I'm going to obviously test the crap out of this stuff. I love destroyers. I loved just covering the tier 10s. That video will be out tomorrow. And I can't wait. I can't wait to discuss in detail each tier 10 for the up-and-coming clan warfare. I plan to do this for a lot of different matchups. I just so happened to pick up the tier 10 because clan warfare was coming out, and I think it's important that we know, hey, these tier 10 DDs are legit, super competitive, and these are kind of stinkers. And I love doing that because DDs are so fun. I could play DDs all day. I hope this was interesting. I really look forward to testing the Pan-Asian destroyers and the deep water torpedoes and the Graf Zeppelin deep water torpedoes. I'm curious to see if you've run up against them. Were they awkward for you? Were they just completely natural? Did the game do enough communication to let you know that these were deep water torpedoes? Let me know. I hope you all have a fantastic day, and I'll catch you next time.